Good morning, afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our latest edition of the DWS Community Cafe. My name is Rachel Fraser. I'm just be moderating the session today. If you haven't joined us before, we do like these sessions to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, please put them into the chat, or we can unmute. You can unmute yourself. I'll unmute everybody before the presentation, and you can please feel free to ask a question if you wish. Today's session is on Dimension SwifTest. So we'll be looking at the Dimension SwifTest search and replace functionality. Our presenter today is Graham Downs, and he will just be walking you through some tips and tricks, some use cases, the ways that we can use the search and replace functionality with ease and to make it really easy for you if you're not quite sure what to do. If you have any questions, as I said, put them in the chat, or if you want to contact us, email me at sam@dwsglobal.com. So without further ado, I will hand over to Graham to start the presentation. Thanks, Graham.
Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everyone. Just share my screen. All right, as Rachel mentioned, my name is Graham Downs. I'm a senior developer for the DWS Dimension team. We are the team responsible for the product range, which includes SwifTest and the Hub and Load Test, and a few others. So today I want to talk about a relatively new feature in SwifTest. I think it came out about 2 releases ago, called Search and Replace. So this is the main SwifTest interface. If you're not familiar, we break our tests up into what are called projects. You're looking at projects now, and projects basically refer to different environments, Enterprise One or Cloud Apps environments that you'd like to test. So I have set up a demo test and a demo project called Graham's Search and Replace project. If I drill down into that, I've created 3 different scenarios, and I'm going to drill into that one, and I've created a test. Now, the scenario that we're considering today is I've got this test which logs into our E1 environment, opens this application, gets to this form, and then enters a hard-coded date, the 29th of August 2021, into a particular field. Suppose we have a number of tests in the system which enter this exact value into this exact field, and we decide that we'd like to change them all. This is where Search and Replace comes in. So to show you in action, I'm just going to quickly run this test to this action, and you can see it opening the browser and navigating to that field. And then the idea is that we will edit that action and we will change all instances of that action in the system. Search and Replace is also particularly useful. I see we have some partners on today, so it just bears mentioning that the functionality is particularly useful in cloud applications. As you may know, from time to time, Oracle releases new versions of cloud apps, and my apologies, I was not connected to our VPN. Let me just connect quickly. So as I was saying, Oracle releases updates to their cloud application suite from time to time, and when that happens, on occasion, it's very occasional these days. It used to happen more often, but still occasionally, they will change the internal, there we go, it's connecting now. They will change the internal IDs of certain controls, buttons and fields and things. And when that happens, if you have any tests that are based on those old controls, those tests will fail. So what we can then do in those situations is we can equally use search and replace as I'm about to do now to go and change all actions in the system that reference those old controls to reference the new ones. Seems my connection is a little slow today. If you'll just bear with me, it won't take long to run this test. Okay, and there we are. Okay, it has now entered that date into the field GL date. And we have, in this scenario, now realized that that date's wrong. We actually need to change it to the 31st. So I'm going to edit the action. Which brings up the familiar edit action flyout, and there's the value. But before I change it, we have this new slider down here that says show similar actions. If I switch it on, it exposes this grid with a button that says find similar actions, and I'm going to click it. And what this is going to do is it's going to find all instances in our system of this exact action where we're entering 29/08/2021 into a field called GL date. And it's found 4 of them across 2 projects. And I can select which ones I want to change. Now these 2, it's picked up because they're not private, but it's also told me that these projects are owned by a different user. So I'm not going to be able to edit them. So I can't click, but it shows me that these projects are owned by a user called Demo. So I might want to get hold of this user and tell them what I'm doing and advise them that they might want to change their actions too. For data integrity and security reasons, I can't change their actions. So I've got this exact test in this project in 2 scenarios that I've created. Scenario 2, scenario 3. Now, what I want to show you today is I don't want to change the one in scenario 3. Of course, I could always click the select all button, which will select all the ones I'm allowed to change and deselect. You'll notice when I select all, it again doesn't select these 2 locked ones. But I specifically don't want to modify this one that's in scenario 3. So I'm going to untick that one. Let me just maximize. Let me just rather change. Ooh, it's scrolled. My window's a bit small. Okay, so now I want to change that date to 31/08. Now what's going to happen when I click the save button, it's going to update not only this action I'm busy with, but this one that I've selected in scenario 2. If I hit save, and I just maximize the screen again, now you'll see that it has changed the one in this test, which is the actual one that I edited. But also, if I were to go into scenario 2, into this copy of the test, it's changed there as well. And if I were to go into scenario 3, in this copy of the test, it has not changed that one because I didn't select it. And here's the other project that you saw earlier, demo search and replace project. It's locked. It's owned by a different user. I can still see it, but because it's locked, I can't actually edit it. So if I open it up, and wait for it to load the tests. It's taking a little bit of time. There it is, and go into the test. Again, you'll see it has not changed. It's changed to 29. Well, it is still the 29th. Because you didn't see scenario 2 earlier, I just want to do it again. And this time we'll change it to, let's change it to the 1st of September. Oops, I didn't select show similar actions. That's a feature, by the way, that show similar actions not on by default, because we don't want people accidentally changing all their actions in the system. I need to change it back to the 31st, otherwise I'm not going to find the similar actions again. And now if I edit it and I find similar actions, it's now found only one, because those the one that I said do not replace wasn't replaced. It still says the 30th, and the ones in the locked project also still say the 30th. So you'll, as you see, the find similar actions finds actions that are exactly the same as the one I want to change. And let's change this to the 1st of the 9th. Select that one to change. Hit save. And once again, you'll see it's changed this one. And if I go back now into the one in scenario 1, it's changed that one too. So, excuse me, obviously, this scenario is a little bit simplistic. You probably, if you're going to do something like this, you'll probably end up using the repository. You wouldn't be hard coding, but this is just a proof of concept. You can use it for other things. As I said, the whole the cloud applications thing, if they change IDs of controls, or perhaps you want to, instead of putting the value into GL date, you want to put it into some other field, you could do that too, which you wouldn't be able to use the repository for. Yes, well, that's it. That's the search and replace functionality. As Rachel said, if you've got any questions, you can pop them quickly into the chat.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
I'll
Graham.
do my best to answer them.
And I think you did mention that this was also functionality that's available for our Cloud Apps product as well. So as well as changing elements. Yeah.
It is indeed.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, we don't have any questions at the moment, but do feel free to email us afterwards. My email's in the chat, or we could email Sam at dwsglobal.com. And with that, I'll just say thanks, Graham. It's really informative. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. We hope to see you on the next edition of the Community Cafe. Thanks.
Thanks, Rachel. I hope you found it useful.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.